Welcome to the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast. I'm your host, Forrest Kelly. From the seed to the glass, wine has a past. Our aim at the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast is to look for adventure at wineries around the globe. After all, great minds think alike. Let's start the adventure. Our featured winery is... We continue our conversation with Barry Hoos, COO of Lakeridge Winery Vineyards. Looking at your location in Florida, it looks like you're just a few miles northwest of the Magic Kingdom of Orlando.
Yeah, we're northwest about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depends on how you get here. The turnpike comes within a couple of miles of where we're at out here. It's hilly. It's a beautiful area. That's why this land was selected for the vineyards. This area of Florida just really lends itself to a great production. It's been very good for us.
I love to hear that. It's great when a business actually does some research and design before they ever open the doors. Sounds like you've picked your location for a reason. How many acres is the property?
We have 127 acres, yes, right here. The vineyards, there's about 70 acres of actual vineyard. The rest of it is for buildings and barns and things like that. We have a second retail location at St. Augustine's called San Sebastian Winery. We do our port there, our barrel room, and our port bottling is there. We do have tank space there. We actually have probably 25,000 gallons of wine there right now being stored. And then we have vineyards up in the Panhandle. The winery started originally up in the Panhandle around the Tallahassee area in the early 80s. We have 450 acres of land up there. I believe about 110 acres of those are in vineyards. And then we contract with smaller vineyards throughout the state to kind of diversify the crop. We don't, we get so many storms here and hurricanes and high winds. We're producing and or buying grapes throughout the state and some in South Georgia.
Whether it's food, cars, or houses, we're always looking for that wow factor. I still remember seeing my wife the first time in her wedding dress. So when people come up to your winery, can you tell me your wow factor?
It's a big property. I think people are very surprised, first of all, that it's hilly. And when they pull into the property, it's kind of a Tuscan design, building, and layout of the property. And the vineyards surround the property on all sides. So when you drive up, you see a large open grass area and fencing that leads up to the large building that is the winery. People from all over the world come to visit us here because Central Florida is a very tourist-driven area. We hear a lot that it reminds them of Europe. Looking over the hillside, seeing the vineyards, seeing the style of building that we have, it's very reminiscent of things that you would see in Italy or France or things like that. So that's probably the biggest surprise, that people are just shocked that something like this exists in this area and that it's so large. We do have an outdoor area with large oak trees where we have music and a food court and an outdoor wine bar that goes on every weekend from noon to 4 on Saturday and Sundays. And so they can come out, even during the week, they can come out and get a bottle of wine, cheese tray, something like that, go out and sit at our picnic tables and just kind of enjoy the view. So it's very open. We like people to take a look around and see what's going on here and just kind of enjoy themselves while they're here. So it's not just kind of a walk into a retail shop. It's kind of a full experience.
And with those experiences, did you have to change much with COVID?
We did. Our total volume of sales kind of remained the same. It just switched. We were wholesaling a lot, of course. Everybody's at home buying their wine at the local supermarkets rather than coming into the store. So our volume was kind of the same, but we don't sell the same wines in wholesale that we do in retail. So a lot of our specialty wines, like our sparkling and our ports and things, we don't wholesale those. So we had to really gear up and try and get in more glass and bottle a lot of our staples, our main red and our white and our blush that we sell mainly through wholesale. We had to bottle lots more of that and get us ready. So that was going on in the wholesale world and in our production schedule. At the same time, our retail shops, for a small period of time, were almost shut down. We did stay open the whole time, but at our location at St. Augustine, we have a bar and a restaurant on the top of the building. Of course, that had to shut down. Normally our tours last about an hour, where we do a guided tour. They go in and they watch a short film on the history of the winery. And then a guide takes them around. They see the tank room and they see the vineyards from a balcony, and they're explaining the process of the crush and all that kind of stuff. And then we have a very large kind of a U-shaped tasting counter, and the group all goes down to the tasting counter where they get to taste the wines and they talk about foods and we go through the whole experience. Of course, with COVID, we had to stop doing that. But we went to a kind of a walkthrough style where the film was just on a rotation. People went into the theater and were spaced apart. They walked through the same areas, but without a guide. And then we had individual tasting stations where just your group would go to a counter and not be close to other people. We hope to return to the guided tours. I think people really enjoy that. They learn a lot. It's a good experience.
Thank you for listening. I'm Forrest Kelly. This episode of the Best 5 Minute Wine Podcast was produced by hilly. If you like the show, please tell your friends and pets and subscribe. Until next time, pour the wine and ponder your next adventure.